Almost a year ago, I bought an abandoned old cabin in the mountains, and honestly, it was in pretty rough shape. The yard was overgrown, and there were some mold and plumbing issues. The floors were badly worn, the electric and water was off, the appliances were unusable, the windows didn't close well, and some leaked when it rained. There was random unfinished construction in the basement and holes everywhere. The roof was failing, walls were rotting, there were a lot of insects, and the long driveway was washed out. But what it really had was potential. And I felt this special connection to the house and land right away. So the later part of summer, I spent my days cleaning everything deeply. Kyle and I were doing our best, chipping away little by little, but also going as fast as we could so that we could move out of our extremely tiny apartment. And I started renovating my office for my small business and computer work, getting refamiliarized with the power tools, and breathing life back into this A-frame cabin up in the woods. And so a lot of my days looked like this.
So I do have some 2x4s out.
And that brings us up to now. The cold season came on and halted our progress. Work was slow, and funding the renovations wasn't always realistic, and we spent a lot of days just chopping up firewood to stay warm. But despite setbacks, I really enjoyed taking this winter to rest a bit and plan, and looked forward to what was coming with the melt, which actually ended up being a non-functional, very long driveway that needed desperate attention, scraping away the sloppy layers until we could acquire the proper materials and equipment to fix it for good. And that'll be really soon, but we aren't quite there yet. We couldn't even get in and out of here some days. It was quite severe. Beyond this, we've been working on organizing a section of the property for next year's firewood so that we'll be prepared. So around this time, the renovations could pick back up, starting with the basement. The first step would be removing everything stored down there into some storage tents outside, allowing us to have a clean slate to work with. There's a lot we've had to sort through and decide on what to keep or what to donate, and some items that will be cleanly put back into the basement when it's finished. The whole thing is a pretty tedious process, but of course very necessary. And so one temporary storage shed wasn't big enough for everything, so we assembled one more mostly to neatly store tools and other project materials. That made a huge difference since before they were just piled up messily on a single table. So we're definitely off to a good start.
Man, what pleasure.
Please.
I have the window to my right cracked, and I can hear so many birds this morning. The whole time I was showering, it was so peaceful. And I was just sort of thinking about how when we get into these renovation time periods, whether it was at the off-grid cabin or now this A-frame, sometimes self-care can take a back seat because we're starting really early in the morning, going through late hours into the night, and I love the process, but sometimes it can take a lot out of you, so I want to make sure this time around that I'm not burning out. This morning it was being extra mindful in the shower, listening to the birds. I've been drinking a lot of water, trying to eat as healthy as possible. And so in line with all of that, I have been using the UFO 3 by Foreo Sweden. I've been using the UFO 3 for months, so I'm very grateful to be partnering with Foreo. The UFO 3 is a deep facial hydration device that gives you the benefits of 5 spa facials. I personally struggle with dry skin a lot, so the UFO 3 has been an absolute game changer. It's very easy to use and features warming thermotherapy to increase product absorption, cooling cryotherapy to depuff and minimize wrinkles, T-sonic massage to relax the facial muscles and boost circulation, and offers the full LED spectrum to revitalize your complexion in minutes. I also like using the Foreo app where I can find preset guided mask treatments. The UFO 3 is rarely on sale, but if you click the link in my description, you'll get 30% off, and then the first 50 people to do so and use my code ALLY10 get an additional 10% off. Truly, this is a great deal and I can't recommend the product enough, and I am going to start with my Make My Day mask. This week we have a bunch of bananas that are starting to turn brown, so I'm going to start my sourdough journey by making a loaf of sourdough banana bread. The starter's really active right now. Okay, cover this until tomorrow, and now I'm gonna go work on the basement. The basement's basically one big room, and then off of it is Kyle's future office, and behind these walls over here is like a tiny hallway closet area. We have to get it as clean as possible to start renovations.
We knew the basement had mold. Whoever built the house didn't design proper drainage, so it's probably had mold problems most of its life.
Yeah, this house is at least, or no, coming up on 50 years old.
So right now, behind us, that wall is covered with mold, and it does look old. It's not like any of it's fresh, because the basement has been pretty dry since we installed the drainage, and there's still a little bit left we can do to improve the drainage. But for now, we got mold-killing paint that we're gonna at least cover up any mold we can see with, and then we'll be able to tell if any mold's coming back.
Yeah.
And then we'll fix those areas.
Yep.
The floor's a mess.
There's a lot of work.
Doesn't need to be there, so I can have more headspace here.
That's a good.
That's a good. That's a good.
That's a good.
Nice.
What is that? Oh.
A dry weed leaf. There was an operation here. The header that the entire staircase rests on is a piece of plywood that's hanging down 6 inches below the joist or wherever it's actually anchored.
And then we thought that these were gas lines running across the top, but
They're literally
it's like
loose.
useless, loose support. Yeah, this house.
Just in case, let's put these gas
This
pipes.
house.
This is the one
We
wall.
need masks for sure.
This is the one wall in the whole house.
Nice job, dude.
Put one up there.
It smells so good. I put extra bananas in it too. Wow. That is so moist.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Throw me a slice, dude.
I'm gonna give you guys both a slice. I am seriously so excited for today's restock. It's one of my favorite things to make. That's my lip sap. I wanted to make it really potent and effective, so it's jam-packed with natural, wholesome ingredients. This is going to be fun. This part can get a little messy, but I like to put a thin layer on the bottom of each tube, kind of as a test to see some fail and leak, and then you can't use them, so this prevents any real waste and just gets the bottom nice and thick for when I pour it in, so there's a supportive base. The smell coming out of this room right now is insane. Neroli and like a citrusy almost aroma. Okay, a couple bigger sizes. These have hardened for a little bit. They're ready to be labeled, but let's talk ingredients. This particular blend is sea buckthorn, rosehip, jojoba, argan, neroli, avocado, apricot, sunflower, vitamin E, lanolin, beeswax, and sweet orange. So all these little twigs that I'm working with are from the sweet birch tree. Beyond the sap being nature's electrolyte drink and the chaga. Now I know that sweet birch specifically has methyl salicylate in the cambium, which is the inner bark, the green layer, and it smells really intense of wintergreen and root beer. Methyl salicylate, think of aspirin. Aspirin is salicylic acid, so this methyl salicylate has pain relieving qualities. What I'm going to do is infuse it into an oil, which I can then put in things like a migraine roll-on or a muscle ache salve. You could gargle it for a sore mouth, sore gums. These smaller twigs I can just chop right up, but for the larger ones I'm going to shave the stick down and just make sure I'm really focusing on the cambium, taking that out. And the birch trees are running today, so I'll definitely get some sap while I'm out here. This is the best time to harvest because the energy is rising up, the sap is flowing, so you're able to collect it when it's very medicinal. And honestly, you just pop one into your mouth or just chew on a little stick and it seriously tastes like you're chewing a minty gum. Freshens your breath.
It's gonna be fun.
There's so much mouse poop in here. There we go.
I finally got a good system down with the drywall. Before we were both just hitting the wall and trying to get the biggest chunks we could off, but now I'm finding the studs and hammering up alongside of them, and then I'm able to just peel the drywall off in 1 or 2 chunks. So much easier. And then the only part that stays on is the taped section, which is screwed into the studs. Once you get going section by section, and those are the only parts exposed, that also just peels right off. Definitely saving time here on the removal and cleanup process, which is super nice because this has taken a lot longer than we thought. And then right as we got to making good progress on the room demolition, we discovered something pretty bad, but yeah, it's a good thing that we caught it now.
Like, I just don't know what to do because that needs to be replaced. It's just not good. But this is a good opportunity.